So we're going from an E minor 7, which when I play it like that sounds just like Wonderwall. Hey guys, what's going on? This is BJ from Real World Guitar, and I'm here today to tell you why you are playing Slide by the Goo Goo Dolls wrong, why that's okay, and what we can do to fix it. So, let's check it out. So Slide by the Goo Goo Dolls is one of those songs that I see acoustic guitar players playing, full bands playing, and never quite getting it right. Now, some of that is in their control, and some of it's maybe out of their control. What I mean by that, so Johnny Resnick of the Goo Goo Dolls is a great singer, great songwriter, and he's their guitar player as well. So when he writes a lot of these songs, he writes in what's called an open tuning, where he alters the tuning of some of the strings, usually to get an open chord, but in his case, just to get some really interesting sounds. So I believe in the original recording, they've got a capo on the first fret, but he's also tuned his strings to what comes out as DADGDD. So it's kind of like drop D on the bottom, but then the top two strings are also tuned to Ds in unison. So you kind of get this cool ringing sound that's almost impossible to get in standard tuning. So I have no problem with that. Nobody really wants to go into that tuning for one song in a set if you're in a cover band or if you're an acoustic guitar player playing. That being said, I see people butcher two parts of this song all the time. The intro and what I call the little pre-chorus is a cool little picking riff in there. And even if we don't want to retune into like that crazy open tuning that Johnny uses, there is a way that we can play it correctly and play it well even in standard tuning. So let's do it. So as I mentioned before, Slide's going to use a capo on the first fret even if we don't do the retuning. So we're in standard tuning, capo on the first fret. And if we look at the intro riff, this is the part that most people kind of get wrong, but it is possible to play it almost exactly like he's got it on the recording, even in standard tuning. So, first chord we're going to get kind of looks like an E minor 7. We're going to grab second fret on the D string, leave the G open, and the third fret on the B string. And we're just picking kind of out and back. Not so bad. You're going to drop your first finger down to the second fret of the G. So now it looks like a D chord. And here's where people get this mostly wrong. He plays, when he's ascending, he plays the notes of the D chord. So open, 2, 3. When he picks back up, he actually goes to an open G note. So he takes his first finger off. And again, I'm referring to the note as G. We've got a capo on the first fret, so in reality it's a G sharp, but all the notes I'm going to refer to as if we were in standard tuning, not with a capo. So again, so make sure you take that first finger off when you're coming back down. That's important. Then we're going to go to a C add 9, so third fret on the A, second fret on the D, open G, and third fret on the B string. We're skipping, technically you don't have to hold down your first finger, but I find it helpful. We're going to skip the D string. We're playing the A, the G, the B, and then back to the G. So all together. And the last two are kind of like a G to almost like a D over F sharp, except we're not going to hold down the second fret on the G. So when we get to the tail end of the riff, playing kind of like a G or a G5, so the third fret on the low E, third fret on the B string, and you're going to play the E, G, and B, and then you're going to drop to the second fret on the low E, and then you're going to grab the third fret on the B string. So you're skipping there from the low E string to the B string. So one more time all together. First finger off. And there it is. Not so bad. All right, we're going to walk quickly through the other parts of the song, but the intro again is where I think most people go wrong. The verse is simply going to be E minor, or in this case, I'm going to play it as an E minor 7. What that's going to do for us is it's going to get the 3rd fret on the B string ringing out, and we're also going to grab the 3rd fret on the high E, which is a G note, which Johnny would hear in his tuning, you'd hear it an octave down, but I think it kind of helps nail some of that sound even without retuning. All right, so we're going to go from an E minor 7 to a D sus4 to a C add 9. And again, strumming wise, down, 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 up, down, 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 up. Or again, if we're going to count it, 1 and 2 and E and 4 and remember, you stay on that C add 9 twice as long, so you get 2 measures on that one. The next part that throws everybody off, I think, in slide is that little transition riff he plays in the what I call the pre-chorus. Which is cool. I think to best emulate the way he does it with the open tuning, but with us in standard tuning, is if you take a C chord, and we're gonna slide it up 2 frets. So you're gonna slide from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret on the A. You're gonna play what is then the 4th fret on the D string, and then the 3rd fret on the B string. Now, when you descend, you're gonna take your middle finger off so that we have an open G and an open D. And then that strum, you can go right back to a C add 9. Plays the same thing again. But again, the one part that I think people get wrong, I see a lot of people doing this as a hammer-on riff. I don't even know how they do it. But that's not right, because he definitely gets that D note. And then because of his open tuning, he's able to get that open D string on the way down. So take that middle finger off. So the notes ascending and descending are slightly different. Cool. From there on out, it's just chords, nothing too crazy. The part that I would call the chorus is really just a C add 9 to a G for most of it. And a D. I tend to throw the D sus4 to the D in there because I hear something in the song that's kind of like that. I'm not sure if it's an extra instrument, if he's actually doing that on his guitar. I think on his, he's just kind of banging away on an open version of a D. Honestly, it would probably be more like a D sus4 because he's got an open G in his set of open strings. But again, we're going C add 9, G 3 times, and then the last one would be a D or a D sus4 if you want to leave your pinky down. Same strumming, the only thing to watch out for is that we're changing on an up strum, so that can be a little tricky. Down, 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 up. That's right where your chord changes from C add 9 to G. And then 2 measures of that D sus4 at the end. So you've got C add 9 to G 3 times, and then D sus4 for 2 measures right at the end. Finally, the last part that we'd look at, I guess I would call the bridge. I think he sings "Oh May" or something along those lines. But here, we're going from an E minor, or again, I'm going to stick with my E minor 7, to a D, or a D sus4. I'm keeping these 2 fingers down. It's just those last 4 chords that are a little bit different, and it actually kind of straightens out just a tiny bit. So we've got E minor 7 for the same strumming, D, and then we're going to go C add 9, G, 3 times, and then D sus4 for 2 measures right at the end. And then we're going to go C add 9 to G 3 times, and then D sus4 for 2 measures right at the end. And then we're going to go C add 9 to G over B, so our first finger is just going to come up to the 2nd fret on the A string, back to C add 9, and then D sus4. On each of those 4 chords, they're all very even on the recording. We're just going to go down, 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 up, or 1 and 2 and up. So all together for this bridge section, E minor 7, D sus4, and then C add 9, G, B, C add 9, and back to D sus4. All right, cool. So that's really all of the parts for slide. We've got our picking intro, we've got our verse chords, we've got our little slidey transitional riff where we slide up a C shape. We've got our chorus and our bridge. For the sake of the video, I'm not going to go through the actual structure of the song. You can listen to the song and see what goes where, but there's no other parts. That's everything you have to worry about on guitar. The last note I want to make is that, I'm kidding a little bit in the intro. You can play the song however you like. I mean, ideally you play the right chords, but everybody can do a little version of it. You can do your own take on it. That's completely fine. But ideally you want to be able to learn the right version and then make some change later on if you want to, like for artistic purposes, or you want to play it a little bit differently. Totally cool. But don't play it wrong just because you didn't learn it right the first time around. So that's what I would say. So little things to watch out for. The picking in the intro, make sure your first finger comes off that D chord. Right there. And then same kind of thing in the little transition riff in the pre-chorus when we slide up. Make sure that middle finger comes off. So on the way up on the D string, we're hitting the 4th fret, but on the way down, it's back to open. All right, so if you get that stuff down, you get those picking sections down, you get the strumming sections down, honestly, you'll have the song in great shape. And that way, when I see you out there playing this song, I'm not going to lump you into that group of guitar players, and I'm like, they didn't really take the time to learn it right. So get working on it. If you have any questions or comments on this particular lesson, feel free to leave them down below. And otherwise, enjoy playing some slide, and I will catch you guys out there next time. All right, later.